Tonight on CTV News at 6. Heavy police presence. Officers converge on Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie after a report of gunfire. A challenging fire to battle.
There are hydrants. It's almost a kilometer away.
An elderly man in North Bay needs help to escape his burning home. And she brought her campaign to Sudbury.
This is an important community for New Democrats.
This member of parliament is running to become leader of the federal NDP.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you're part of our show on this Monday. An elderly man in North Bay needed help to be evacuated after fire tore through his house last night. Crews scrambled to Cedar Heights Road West in the city's northwest end. When firefighters arrived, the house was fully engulfed in flames. Crews assisted the man out of the home and he was not hurt. However, 2 cats died in the fire. The elements and no nearby fire hydrant did create some challenges for firefighters.
There are hydrants. It's almost a kilometer away, but we were able, after some water shuttling, to use a hydrant. Again, it's a 1,200 feet of high vol. It's a lot of work just to get that set up. That did help us, but at that point, structure was compromised.
There's no damage estimate at this time, but fire crews expect the home to be a total loss. OPP are warning about a social media challenge trending. The door kick challenge is happening in the Timmins, Kirkland Lake areas. Officers are now urging people to stop. This challenge sees people forcefully kick or strike the door of a home while recording the act and then posting it on social media. Police add the door kicking can cause significant property damage and scare people inside the home. Participating in this fad can lead to charges under the criminal code, including break and enter, mischief to property, causing a disturbance, and trespassing.
It may seem not very serious and may seem to be a prank, but it really is a criminal offense when you're damaging property or you're potentially opening doors by kicking or pushing doors open.
Police are encouraging parents to speak to their kids about the consequences and the potential danger of confronting homeowners. A heavy police presence today on Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie. Police say they were responding to calls of gunfire in the area around 9:45 this morning. An investigation is underway and more information will be released when available. Federal NDP leadership candidate Heather McPherson met with 6 nonprofit representatives to hear the concerns today about Sudbury's most vulnerable. And as CTV's Madison Merrier explains, McPherson hopes to bring what she learned here to Parliament Hill.
This is an important community for New Democrats. We are the party for workers, and Sudbury is a working town. So for me, it was very important that I took the time to come to Sudbury to speak to people in Sudbury about the issues that are facing them, the concerns that they have.
McPherson is the second NDP candidate to come to Sudbury behind Rob Ashton, but also in the running is Tennille Johnson, Avi Lewis, and Tony McQuail.
The fact that we don't have any NDP MPs in Ontario is very problematic to be able to be heard in the House of Commons on a different perspective. And so I really think that every candidate should be coming through to see what is going on here in the North, and I'm sure they all will.
A housing roundtable occurred today highlighting the community group's concerns regarding affordable housing for the growing unhoused population.
Our provincial government doesn't believe or invest in people who are poor. The rates of OW certainly attest to that. There's no way for them to get out of that situation.
There's a lot of, I don't know where else to send you. $730 is nothing. They can't afford a room. $1,000 and up for a room.
Listening to everything you're saying, the first step in our plan is to declare a national housing emergency, because that helps us mobilize funds, because that helps us mobilize resources to deal with it at the scale.
McPherson says she plans to address Parliament regarding the housing concerns that were brought up at the Sudbury Roundtable before the NDP leadership debate in just a few days.
To see that she follows through on that, and eager to know that the government will hear again, from some advocates on what the issues are and the pressing nature of those needs having to be met.
Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
With time running out to access provincial emergency encampment funding, plans to relocate the living space shelter in Timmins have gained steam this week. City officials say a site selection team is reviewing potential locations. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
Timmins Mayor Michelle Boileau, who also chairs the Cochrane District Services Board, says a team comprised of staff and community partners is out looking for a new location for the living space shelter and a permanent encampment area.
They'll be scoring different sites based on a predetermined matrix in order to be able to come back to the board with a recommendation.
Boileau says with the provincial approval window narrowing, the hope is to have a lease agreement in place before the end of the calendar year. Councillor Steve Black says the province will have the final say when it comes to how Timmins uses the $3.2 million that's earmarked for the establishment of a permanent encampment.
The final plan is always subject to provincial approval, so it's on the table, I believe, but they have to be in agreement that the final selection and the operation of the site aligns with what the original submission and award of funding was for. So it does have a provincial approval mechanism within that process.
Officials would not share locations at this time, but say they have potential, and new property owners are coming on board daily. Black says the goal is for the property to be located outside residential zones.
Not to say, that there won't be any house nearby, whatever the selected facility is or what that offset distance may be, but the goal is to put it in a non-residential area.
The mayor says they're trying to be open to different configurations, and at this time, the plan would allow tents.
So right now, we're trying not to be too prescriptive, because we don't want to be limiting sites that might have some potential.
Boileau says the $3.2 million would come from the province's emergency response initiative and is only for capital costs and does not include operational expenses. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Shifting gears now to the weather, and the forecast is changing in a big way. In fact, a storm is heading to some parts of Northeastern Ontario. To tell us more, let's bring in CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick.
Tony, we call it a winter storm watch as issued by Environment Canada, anywhere from 25 to 45 centimeters of snow in some areas. So Timmins, some of the areas, Wawa, Cochrane, Hearst, Chapleau, all being affected by this. Right now you can see in blue. All starts by tomorrow evening. We'll take a look at our forecast radar right now moving through as that system beginning to creep into northeastern Ontario, but the precipitation will start by tomorrow evening and continue for a couple of days up until Thursday. Some numbers coming up a little bit later on, the 7-day forecast and our current temperatures for this evening just minutes away. Tony?
Thanks for that, Rick. It's in your home. Still to come on CTV News at 6. It's a radioactive gas that occurs when uranium in soil and rock breaks down. And controversial bill that sparked protests. The Ford government passes tenancy legislation.
Ready to run with the pack? The Sudbury Wolves take on the Sarnia Sting Friday, December the 5th, and you could be in the stands. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to cheer on your favorite team. So, what are you waiting for? Enter now at CTVNorthernOntario.ca and get ready to howl.
A Northern Health Unit is recognizing Radon Action Month by urging all homeowners to test for the radioactive gas. Public Health Sudbury District says radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas produced by the breakdown of uranium found in rocks and soil. While small amounts are normal and found everywhere, the gas poses a significant health risk when it accumulates inside homes and enclosed spaces. It is odorless, colorless, and tasteless, and can only be detected through specialized testing.
Getting testing is the only way to confirm that the presence of radon and at what levels, right? So there are a variety of different types of testing, digital ones as well as traditional testing methods, and they each have their purpose. So what we're recommending is, based on Health Canada guidance, is the long test. So that is the test that takes at least 3 months and is recommended to do during the heating season.
Rangers says September to April is the ideal time to test, and tests can be found at most hardware stores or can be ordered online. The City of Greater Sudbury is making changes to how ice time is booked at city-owned arenas. According to a staff report headed to committee this week, more than 24,000 hours of ice time is booked at the 14 city arenas. The report comes after meetings with rink users over the summer, which raised questions about ice time allocations. The review discovered AAA hockey was allocated more hours than Hockey Canada guidelines, and some organizations were providing inflated registration numbers, allowing them to gain extra ice time. Changes include requiring governing bodies to submit the registration numbers and ensuring girls AAA hockey gets the same access to ice time in the city. At Queen's Park today, a controversial piece of housing legislation was passed despite vocal opposition from those in the gallery. They're concerned that the new law could make evictions easier and take away the ability of tenants to defend themselves. That story from CTV's Siobhan Morris.
An eruption of anger inside the Ontario legislature, with screams raining down on politicians from the galleries above as they voted on Bill 60, legislation that includes controversial changes for renters.
You're putting people on the streets!
From his seat, the Premier yelled back for that demonstrator to get a job.
It's totally unbecoming of the office of the Premier.
The man on the receiving end agrees.
Doug Ford hasn't had to go looking for a job in a while. He has no clue the difficulties that people are facing.
The legislature in such a state of chaos, security ordered the public out on a bill that skipped committee hearings.
People's voices do need to be heard.
Worried more renters will lose their homes.
Well, I heard it in the House today for sure, but I don't agree with it because we're creating balance in the landlord-tenant system.
The bill shortens the grace period for a tenant who missed rent before they can be evicted.
We're talking about big property managers who are getting rich off of these schemes, and they're the ones who are going to profit.
But small-scale landlords insist they need help.
I've had landlords call me crying because of a tenant that has not only did not pay rent for months and knows how to avoid the eviction, they also damaged the property.
Opposition parties say this bill does nothing to solve serious problems between landlords and tenants.
All it does is it points the finger at every single renter and tenant, of whom the vast majority are acting in good faith.
Frustration and fear that exploded into the open.
I understand why people are upset, because they're desperate, because they can't afford to live in Doug Ford's Ontario.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
And the Ontario government is also moving to make bail conditions tougher.
We're coming forward again with bold, innovative, and practical solutions to enhance our public safety. And the reason is obvious. Our government has never stopped in believing that our inherent right to live safely in our own homes and communities is the guiding principle that drives our actions every day to protect Ontario.
The province says it will also require defendants to pay security deposits before they can be released from custody. The change is part of a bill aimed at tightening bail requirements. Toronto's police chief says the new legislation will help make communities safer.
These additional measures announced today to improve bail compliance and keep repeat violent offenders in custody will make our communities safer. These initiatives are essential to protect the public and prevent crime, restore public trust in the justice system, and support police officers who see firsthand the harm caused to victims by violent criminals.
The province says that if a defendant's bail conditions are met, the deposit will be returned. Provincial funding has opened up new training opportunities for paramedics in the north. Confederation College in Thunder Bay and Collège Boreal in Sudbury are partnering to increase advanced training for already certified professionals. CTV's Alan Everson reports.
The new partnership provides training opportunities for practicing paramedics in a virtual reality lab and a state-of-the-art ambulance simulator. It's part of the Advanced Care Paramedic Program.
There's been a lack of education for advanced care paramedics for the last few years in Sudbury. The only program left in the north was Confederation up in Thunder Bay. So the demand is getting higher and higher from service operators locally. So therefore, we decided to team up with Thunder Bay, and we're using their program, but here at Collège Boréal in Sudbury.
Chris Bentley is a paramedic in Little Current and is taking the one-year program. In this scenario, he's intubating and ventilating a patient.
And we've recently been authorized to get advanced care paramedics. So I applied to the program to be able to have more skills and have more life-saving abilities on the island in my home community.
Alexi Denny is a paramedic in Sudbury and is also advancing her skills. She is inserting an IV in the bone in this learning scenario.
So we're looking at, medical calls, traumatic calls in a new lens, a new way with new skills. Skills that you would see potentially in the hospital that we're doing out in the field now.
Both students say as first responders, they want to do as much as they can to help patients.
And so just being able to give just a little bit more to our patients, being right there and then in their time of crisis is really important for me.
Super beneficial to Northern Ontario to have this expansion of scope, especially in the rural communities where we're starting to see it now.
Each of the students in the advanced care course have at least 1,000 hours as a primary paramedic and will take new life-saving skills home to their communities after completing the one-year course. Alan Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
Okay, back now for a check on your current conditions. Once again, here's Rick.
Well, Tony, a lot of people buzzing about snow. When is it going to start? It's going to start tomorrow evening in some parts of Northeastern Ontario. Forecast radar, you can see that system gently moving in. It should start by tomorrow evening. More snow to the north and rain to the south. Let's take a look now at some of our current conditions for this evening. Moosonee, Cochrane, Timmins, and Kapuskasing as well. Moving on over to Chapleau, Wawa, and Sault Ste. Marie. Meanwhile, in Parry Sound, 3 degrees this hour. North Bay, Temiskaming Shores, some precipitation in Kirkland Lake. And of course, we've got Greater Sudbury, Espanola, Elliott Lake, and Gore Bay. Now, winter storm watch in effect, according to Environment Canada, for Moosonee, Wawa, Chapleau, Kirkland Lake, Kapuskasing, Cochrane, Hearst, and Folliet, and communities in between. 25 to 45 centimeters of snow coming your way. Don't say you weren't warned. Tony, back to you.
Thanks, Rick. Charges dismissed. Next on CTV News at 6. A judge in the U.S. says criminal cases against James Comey and Letitia James will not move forward. And the United States and Ukraine craft a peace deal. Will it be enough for Russia to sign off on? Prime Minister Mark Carney has renewed trade talks with India. It's being called the start of a comprehensive economic partnership. It is a significant shift in what has been a contentious relationship between the two countries. The Prime Minister spoke about it before leaving the G20 summit in South Africa.
Canada has quite an actual strong commercial relationship with India. We are one of the largest, for example, foreign investors in India. Canada is. And there have been tight ties. What we're looking to do is to put that on a sound footing through a potential trade agreement between the two countries, which give protections to our businesses, protections to Indian businesses, clear set of rules, dispute mechanisms, and others, and build on those opportunities.
When pressed by reporters at the G20, Carney said he's not in a hurry to resume trade talks with U.S. President Donald Trump, but says the pair will speak again at some point.
He accepted the apology when I spoke to him, and we've had discussions. I've been busy. There's another point, though. I've been busy. We passed a budget with that's going to catalyze $1 trillion of investment. We have launched new trade agreements. We've secured new investment in the country of a size not seen arguably before. So we're busy. He's got other things to do, and we'll re-engage when it's appropriate.
Trump ended trade talks with Canada last month after Ontario ran an anti-tariff ad campaign featuring former U.S. President Ronald Reagan. Carney says he looks forward to speaking to the president soon, likely sometime in the next 2 weeks. A crucial decision today in a U.S. federal court with a judge dismissing criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Both cases were plagued with procedural questions, and both were targets of President Donald Trump's anger. Here's CTV's Joy Melvin.
James Comey was Donald Trump's FBI director in his first term and at the top of the president's political enemies list after he led the investigation into alleged ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. Today, vindication.
The message has to be sent that the President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. I don't care what your politics are. You have to see that as fundamentally un-American.
The case dismissed after federal judge Cameron Curry concluded Lindsay Halligan, Donald Trump's handpicked lawyer who had no experience as a prosecutor, was illegally appointed. Ms. Halligan had no lawful authority to present the indictment, the judge said, concluding they were unlawful exercises of executive power. New York's Attorney General Letitia James says she is heartened by the judge's ruling. In 2022, James successfully sued Trump and the Trump Corporation for millions of dollars in a civil fraud case.
Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud.
The president then went after her over a mortgage loan, but the judge also dismissed that case on the same grounds as Comey, saying the prosecutor's appointment was invalid.
The whole thing was improper. I mean, I think this was an obvious one. I would have been shocked if the judge allowed this case to continue. So I think these two cases are doomed, whether it's procedurally or substantively.
Comey's lawyer says he can't be recharged because of the statute of limitations has passed, but it is possible they try and recharge James. The White House says today's judgment will not be their final word. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
The United States and Ukraine say they have drafted what is being called a refined peace framework after Ukraine's allies criticized the 28-point plan originally proposed by the United States as being too sympathetic to Russia. As talks continue, Russia continues to launch fierce attacks on Ukraine, including a drone strike on Ukraine's second largest city. Ukrainian officials say at least 4 people were killed and several others were injured in the attack. Speaking at a summit in Sweden today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Kyiv will continue to work on steps that can bring an end to Russia's war against Ukraine and bring Ukraine real security.
We all continue working with partners, especially the United States, and look for compromises that strengthen but not weaken us. And we will continue explaining how dangerous it is to pretend that aggression is something one can simply overlook and move on.
U.S. President Donald Trump posted this cryptic message this morning asking if it's really possible that big progress is being made in the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. He then added, "Don't believe it until you see it, but something good just may be happening." And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Okay, so Environment Canada's winter storm warning has been, downside. It's now called a watch. So the amounts aren't as severe as I first mentioned, up to 45 centimeters, in some cases 25 to 35 centimeters for Timmins, Wawa, Kirkland Lake 15 to 20. Here's a system that's going to infiltrate Northeastern Ontario. So initially it was a warning, now it's just a watch, but some areas will get some snow, blowing snow, wreaking havoc with Highway 11. Overnight conditions tonight, not bad compared to what some areas will get tomorrow. Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Temiskaming Shores, and North Bay. So possibility of some showers or some drizzle. Moosonee, some sleet, Caphurst, Wawa, Gore Bay, and Perry Sound. Now the 7-day numbers. Sudbury Nickel Belt. Here we go. Tuesday showers, rain Wednesday, chance of flurries, and again Friday, Saturday some cloud cover, chance of flurries come Sunday. Those temperatures start off very warm, then they cool down to -6, -4 by early next week. Sault Ste. Marie Algoma, some rain snow mix, flurries, snow squalls, more snow than expected there, -1 your high. Chance of flurries for 3 consecutive days. Your normal 2 degrees, and you're not close to that, at least for when you look at Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, flurries drizzle by tomorrow, then the snow starts tomorrow evening. Snow Wednesday, periods of snow Thursday, Friday, chance of flurries, more of the same Saturday and Sunday. Normally you should be sitting at -3, but you're going to be looking at some temperatures at -6, -9, and -11 for next week. Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, drizzle rain for tomorrow. Rain snow mix Wednesday. Chance of snow Thursday, a pretty good bet at 60%. Chance of flurries Friday, some cloud cover, and the chance of flurries once again. But those temperatures are going to drop to -5, -6, and -8, even -14 overnight on Friday. North Bay, West Nipissing. Chance of showers, good bet there at 60% at 4. Periods of rain Wednesday. Chance of flurries on Thursday, some cloud cover Friday and Saturday. Then it starts to get colder by Saturday, -6 degrees. Chance of flurries on Sunday, and again Monday, -1. Maybe some sunny breaks in that forecast. Normally it should be sitting at around -1 for this time of the year. Let's have a look now at our pick of the day. This is a great shot from René Gervais. Sunset at Murray Lake, and I like the way you captured this one, René. So keep it coming. We'll have more pictures coming up throughout the entire week. Just remember to let us know where you're shooting from, and some great locations throughout Northeastern Ontario in the last week or so. Hey, stick around. Tony has more news coming up right after the break.
This is HIV Awareness Week and an initiative in Sudbury called Bundle Up in Red. Red scarves are being tied to lampposts around the city with a focus on the downtown to try to end the stigma surrounding HIV testing. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
Mayor Paul Lefebvre adds a scarf to a light post. This is one of 300 red scarves that will be put up across Sudbury to provide warmth, education, and reduce stigma.
Folks can live long, healthy lives being HIV positive, and getting to a undetectable viral load is very possible.
I tested positive in 2001 and got a treatment right away and achieved an undetectable viral load right away, which is important because I did not want to be one of those that spread the virus unknowingly.
Goff says he feels it's important that everyone knows their status and gets tested. Meantime, Pellin adds she wants people to consider their risk factors.
How they can protect themselves, you know, are they someone who would want to go on PrEP, which is something someone takes, someone who is HIV negative takes to protect themselves should they come into contact with HIV.
According to data from the HIV in Canada report published in 2023, new diagnoses in Canada increased by more than 35% in 2023 compared to 2022, with 2,434 newly diagnosed people. The Bundle Up in Red campaign is just the first of week-long events leading up to World AIDS Day on December 1st, when Réseau will host a vigil here at the library at 5:30 p.m. honoring those who have died by HIV-related causes. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Canada's health minister says close to 6 million Canadians are covered under the Canada Dental Care Plan, making it possible for them to receive the dental care they need. Minister Marjorie Michel announced more than $35 million today in new funding for oral health access fund projects.
Today, we also announced that 30 projects across Canada have been approved under the Oral Health Access Fund. These projects will improve training for dental students and strengthen efforts to improve access to care.
The Oral Health Access Fund is a grants and contributions program led by Health Canada designed to complement the Canada Dental Care Plan. The fund aims to expand access to oral health care through support for projects that reduce or remove barriers to accessing oral health care. A Sudbury doctor was recently recognized for his significant contributions locally and nationally. The Ontario College of Family Physicians honored Dr. Tom Creighton with a Regional Family Physician of the Year award, Northeast Region. The peer-nominated award is recognition of outstanding patient care, leadership, advocacy, research, and commitment to education. Creighton has practiced in his hometown for more than 3 decades and says he loves his job, largely due to his patients.
They go through various, important things with their health. You help them with it. You help their families with it. You see their families grow. Sometimes you see very sad things. But it's just been a tremendous honor to sort of be able to do that work and to be with people and to be with them for a long time. Family medicine, in my view, is the only area in medicine where you get that.
Creighton was one of 13 physicians awarded for various achievements. Dr. Jody Stewart of Sault Ste. Marie also received an Award of Excellence. Northern Ontario's largest college is about to launch a game-changing program centered around video games and virtual reality. The Serious Games Design and Development Graduate Certificate will be a 1-year program that will be offered at Cambridge College starting next September. It is the first graduate certificate program of its kind at a public Ontario college. Students will apply game mechanics, extended reality technologies, and gamification to create training tools and interactive experiences that will be used across multiple sectors.
It is kind of what it sounds like. It's games that are a little bit more serious in nature, games that are designed for education, for training, for industry purposes like simulation, games that are for something other than just entertainment, so they have more of a purpose behind them.
And the program will be offered online and in person. Polls show a majority of Canadians believe there is intelligent life out there among the stars, and someone could get their hands on decades worth of research into UFOs and extraterrestrials, all sitting in a Vancouver warehouse. CTV's Andrew Johnson on how it ended up there and what's inside.
This is the UFO haven, I guess.
Jeff Schwartz has seen a lot in his 40 years in the liquidation business, but nothing quite as unusual as this.
I get all kinds of stuff, anything and everything that you could possibly think of. Getting something like this, I would say it's probably in the top 1, if not the top 1.
The paranormal collection comes from California and a guy by the name of Chris Wyatt, who produced multiple documentaries on UFOs and alien encounters.
Became Hollywood's de facto UFO producer in the mid to late 90s.
He spent years gathering evidence, declassified government documents, and recording testimonials. Also included in the auction, this, and it's not your normal family photo album. Inside, photographs captured over decades all over the world, alleged UFO sightings long before the era of Photoshop.
You can see fighter jets chasing some of these UFOs.
The centerpiece comes from Roswell Air Force Base in New Mexico, where the alleged remains of a UFO and its alien crew were taken in 1947 after a crash. It's a yearbook detailing who worked at the base at the time. Wyatt says all copies were confiscated, but a former officer approached him with one he'd saved.
This gentleman was in an oxygen tank. He said, "I don't have long to live. This is my prized possession, and I think you're the guy to own it."
Wyatt has now left his film career behind and hopes the collection is bought next month by a production company interested in investigating further. The Vancouver sellers say it sparked a lot of discussion on close encounters in the city that provided the setting for the X-Files.
I've talked to a few people, and everybody seems to kind of have a story.
Maybe the truth is right here. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
And this just in, St. Joseph's General Hospital in Elliott Lake has declared a hospital-wide VRE outbreak. VRE is a type of bacteria resistant to the antibiotic vancomycin, and it's spread through direct contact or contaminated surfaces. As a result, visitation is now restricted to essential care partners. Enhanced infection prevention measures have been implemented. Hospital officials say they will continue to update the community on this outbreak. And he is coming home, still ahead on CTV News at 6. A Sudbury-born singer is excited and nervous about a concert coming up on Sunday.
Clothing consideration provided by
Fashion Fair. Beautiful clothing for today's woman, where quality makes the difference.
He was born in Sudbury, one of the original members of the Canadian Tenors and Destino, and has traveled the world. Joey Niceforo is coming back home to Sudbury for a concert this Sunday at All Nations Church. Joey now joins us from Toronto. Hi there, my friend.
Hello, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing well. So before we get to that concert, how have you been?
I've been great. I've never been busier. I'm lucky enough to have a residency with the Casa Loma Symphony Orchestra, which, you know, anything in the arts to have something that's kind of permanent is incredible. So I get to perform there in the winter months from February to March, and then all summer from June to August, and then as well as everything else that I do. So I'm very excited and thankful.
That's great news. That's right in your wheelhouse. So tell our viewers about a little bit of everything.
So because it's going to be on November 30th, it's not quite December, I thought I would do a little bit of Christmas music, a little bit of opera, a little bit of Broadway, some of the Rat Pack songs, because I do have a chance to do all kinds of different music when I'm performing with the Casa Loma Symphony Orchestra. And so I thought I'd bring a little bit of that to Sudbury, some songs that I thought I could never sing, maybe a country song, and as well as some beautiful pieces that I would never have thought of singing myself. However, the maestro here in Toronto kind of have pushed me to expand my horizons a bit. So I'm excited to bring that to Sudbury, to my hometown.
And I understand you're also bringing some friends with you.
I am. I'm bringing one of my best friends and probably my oldest colleague in terms of performing with her. We've been performing together for about 20 years. She's an incredible soprano, classically trained. Her name is Sarah Papini. And I've brought her up to Sudbury a few times, and she absolutely loves it. And I'm also bringing an incredible violinist who I've performed with several times in Toronto, named Alex Toskov. And for the first time, I am bringing up a pianist, Royvin Rajner. So I'm excited to work with him. We've had a couple of rehearsals already together. He's an incredibly versatile pianist, and I know the crowd in Sudbury is just going to love him.
Let's talk about the crowd in Sudbury. You've performed all around the world. Is there extra pressure or less pressure in performing at home?
It's funny you ask that. There's so much more pressure to perform at home. I get so much. I always get nervous when I sing. That's just part of the job. You always want to do well. You never know what's going to happen with your voice, whether there's going to be a little crack or how it's going to sound that particular night. But when I come home, I just want to do well for the people who have supported me throughout my career.
Always great talking with you, Joey. Break a leg.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much. All the best to you, and I appreciate it, and I can't wait for Sunday.
Yes, Joey Niceforo joined us from Toronto, and to find out more about the concert on Sunday, head to Facebook and search Joey Niceforo. The annual Santa Claus Parade in Sault Ste. Marie took place over the weekend. The yearly event returned to its classic path on Queen Street this year after a brief detour in 2024. Hundreds braved rainy weather to see the displays of lights and holiday themes, and of course, all stayed until the end to get a glimpse of jolly old St. Nick. This edition of the Rotary Santa Claus Parade featured 55 registered floats, one of the largest in the event's history. We spoke with some attendees on what brings them back year after year.
We like to see Santa and just see the community decorating their floats.
Yeah, the kids enjoying themselves. That brings the Christmas spirit.
It really does.
Hey, we like handing out candy and helping. And it's my first year at the Santa Parade, but it's really fun, and my school's floats here, so that's good.
I came here before just to be here on the sidewalk and stuff, but I've never really handed out things, and it feels really good.
This is my second time here. I came here before with my friend, but I'm really excited to be here because Christmas is my favorite holiday.
The Sudbury Santa Claus Parade was also on Saturday. More than 60 floats were entered in this year's parade, including Pure Country and CTV. Our news team did our best impression of Clark W. Griswold out there. Thousands of people lined the streets to share in the Christmas spirit. Check out the amazing floats entered this year, and of course, give a smile and wave to the big man himself. Time now for our weekend wrap-up, starting in the Ontario Hockey League. The North Bay Battalion got shut out in Oshawa Friday night, with the Generals beating the troops 4-0. The London Knights were in Sudbury Friday as part of their Northern Road Swing. The Wolves would defend their turf with a 6-3 victory. The Knights would rally Saturday night in the Sioux, taking out the Greyhounds 4-3. Sudbury Wolves hit the road Sunday to take an 8-2 beating from the Brampton Steelheads to wrap up their weekend. In the NOJHL, the Sudbury Cubs have moved into top spot. The Cubs have won 9 of their last 10 games, including a 9-3 finish over the Kirkland Lake Gold Miners Saturday. The Timmins Rock have also won 9 of their last 10, helping them close the points gap and stay a contender in the top 5. Kirkland Lake might have had a rough game Saturday, but they rallied Sunday to win 6-3 over the Iroquois Falls Storm and sit tied with the Storm in the standings with 18 points apiece. An update to a story we brought you recently about a shift worker turned baker from Northern Ontario who's showcasing his skills on a national televised competition.
Something, so let's bake.
Ryan Gridzak from Sault Ste. Marie was a top 3 finalist in the Great Canadian Baking Show and was vying for the prestigious title of Star Baker. Gridzak was the first person to represent Northern Ontario in the series and won 3 consecutive technical challenges, including in last night's Season 9 finale. While the Algoma Steel worker was beat by a Vancouver event planner, Joe Mandate, for the top prize, he says he is grateful to have made it that far.
I was trying to describe it last night to a few people because I had similar questions, and it's a very overwhelming feeling. You know, it's happy, it's sad, it's bittersweet because it's been the last year of my life, my family's life. So for it to all come to an end last night, it's kind of sad, but the experience was amazing. The people I met, the support was incredible. So very, very humbled.
Gritzak says he doesn't know what's next, but says baking will continue to be one of his passions. A new documentary about football in the 80s and the season finale of a series set in the 80s are making headlines tonight in David Daniels' Hollywood Report.
We have a plan. It's a bit insane.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
No idea, but I think we should find out.
Netflix has unveiled the official trailer for Season 5, Volume 1 of Stranger Things. The action begins a year and a half after the end of Season 4, as the entire gang gathers to fight the final battle. Volume 1 debuts Wednesday, followed by Volume 2 on December 25th, and the series finale on December 31st.
What do you think of football players doing a rap song and a line dance?
I didn't come here looking for trouble. I just came to do the Super Bowl shuffle. What the heck have we gotten ourselves into?
Here's a blast from the past. The Shuffle looks at how the 1985 Chicago Bears recorded the Super Bowl Shuffle before they'd even made it to the big game. The documentary shuffles onto HBO Max Tuesday. Strutting for fun in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Stocks continue to rally today after a sell-off last week. BNN Bloomberg's Andrew Bell has more.
Hello there. Canadian and U.S. stocks rose today after wavering last week on a fresh rally in giant technology and artificial intelligence plays. Shares in Alphabet, parent of Google, hit a new record high. The company's Gemini 3 AI model is getting good reviews, and it's seen as a threat to arch-rival OpenAI. On the markets, the Canadian dollar was at 70.9 US cents, down a fraction. West Texas Intermediate oil traded at $58.96 US a barrel, up 90 cents. Our latest fix on Western Canadian Select oil, $45.34, down 86 cents. And the TSX Composite ended the day at 30,604.35, up just over 443 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $69.58, closing the day at $41.3479 US an ounce. Silver up $1.36 to end the day at $51.36. Copper, no change and sits at $4.85. And nickel down 7 cents, ending the day at $6.47 US a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Tuesday weather.
Well, Tony, we've got a winter storm warning as issued by Environment Canada for the northern sections of northeastern Ontario. But until that arrives, this is what we've got going tomorrow. Greater Sudbury, we've got rain and 4 degrees. Chance of flurries in Timmins at 0. More rain in the Sault at 7 degrees. In North Bay for tomorrow, we've got the chance of showers. Chance of showers, Parry Sound, 8 degrees at balmy, 8 and 4 in Temiskaming Shores. Drizzle, rain for tomorrow. Tony, back to you.
Thanks, Rick. And finally this hour, it's been another incredible drive to keep Sudburyans warm this winter. Pure Country 91.7 with help from Palladino Auto Group wrapped up another successful Coats for a Cause campaign. The crew collected around 1,000 coats, toques, scarves and mittens to help better beginnings, better futures. Children and families are now able to keep warm this winter thanks to your generosity. And thanks for watching CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Ian Campbell. Good night.